Hello and welcome to our daily podcast talk show. This is teacher Stephen and Julia. Julia, do you remember the first time you realized that not all past events in English are described the same way? It kind of blew my mind when I was learning because suddenly there was this tense that focused on what was happening, not just what happened.
I totally get that feeling, Stephen. The past continuous really changes how we tell stories. Instead of just saying, I walked to school, you can say, I was walking to school when it started raining. It gives so much more detail about what was going on at a particular moment.
Exactly. It's almost like painting a picture of the past, isn't it? You're not just telling what happened, but also setting the scene. That actually reminds me, a lot of my students find this tense tricky because it's so different from their native languages.
That's true, and sometimes they wonder, why not just use simple past all the time? But if you think about movies or books, most interesting stories use that ongoing action to build suspense or show what was in the background.
Let's dig into how we actually build the past continuous tense. So, you always need was or were, and then the main verb with ing. For example, she was studying. Super straightforward, but people often mix up was and were.
Funny you bring that up, because just yesterday someone asked me, do I say I were or I was? It's always I was, but you were, right? Sometimes that little difference trips people up, especially under pressure.
Yeah, those little words make a big difference. And for groups or plural nouns, like they were playing football, you definitely use were. It helps to practice with different subjects to get the pattern down.
After some repetition, it starts to sound natural. What helped me was repeating, we were, they were, he was, out loud until it just stuck. It's like building a muscle.
Switching gears a bit, do you have a favorite example of when you use past continuous in a story? For me, it's when I'm describing two things happening at the same time in the past.
Oh, totally. Like, I was making dinner while my friend was calling me. It shows those two actions were happening together, not one after the other. Makes the story feel alive.
Exactly, and what I find interesting is how it lets you explain interruptions too. Like, I was reading when the power went out. Suddenly you've got a timeline and a focus.
It's almost like hitting pause on life, right? You zoom in on what was happening just before something else. Adds drama. Speaking of which, what mistakes do you see learners making with this tense?
Great question. The biggest one I hear is mixing up the tenses, like saying, I was went instead of I was going. People want to double up on the verbs, but past continuous only needs one main verb with ing.
And sometimes, students forget the verb to be entirely. I'll hear, she eating dinner, when it should be, she was eating dinner. That tiny word makes all the difference.
Another tricky part is using it for things that weren't really ongoing. For example, I was found my keys that doesn't work, because finding your keys is a moment, not a process.
Right. It's more for things that lasted a bit, like I was looking for my keys. Catching those mistakes early helps a ton. Actually, have you got any favorite tips for practicing?
Definitely. My favorite is story building. Just take a simple sentence and add details. I was sitting in the park when a dog ran past and people were laughing. It's fun and forces you to use the tense naturally.
That's a good one. I also love using old photos. Pick one and describe what people were doing at that moment. Like, she was holding an umbrella, they were dancing in the rain. It turns grammar into a mini time machine.
What surprised me most is how quickly people improve when they try to connect their own daily memories to the tense. Even something like, last night I was watching TV when, just gets the brain in the habit.
And if you mess up, no worries. The important thing is to keep practicing until it feels natural. Eventually, you'll find yourself slipping was and were into sentences without thinking.